And then more and more people started to say this. And then, of course, you know, news of the Bosnian pyramid began to grow. And then we learnt that a man called Dr Sam Osmanagich was very much at the core of this. And we wanted to have Sam here for a very long time. And now he's here. And as he's here, he said, well, might as well make the most use of the time that we can have. So you're going to get 2 presentations. So for the next hour, we're going to be hearing about pyramids of the world, because that then puts into context what's going on in Bosnia. And then we're going to have a 10-minute break at 6 o'clock, and then we're going to come back and we're going to do the whole Bosnian pyramid experience. But it's a real privilege to have Sam here. He's joined us for much of the weekend so far, which is lovely. And we're really, really looking forward to hearing what he's got to say. So a big hand, please, for Dr. Sam Osmanagich.
Thank you. So back in 2005, I discovered the Bosnian pyramids. And for the last 40 years, I have been researching megalithic and pyramid sites around the world, and concluded that almost everything they teach us about the ancient history is wrong. The origin of man, civilizations, and pyramids. We have been programmed to think that pyramids were built in Egypt and Mexico. Wrong. They were built on all 6 continents. Also, they've been telling us that the Egyptian pyramids were used as tombs for the pharaohs. Well, according to non-scientific Wikipedia, Encyclopedia Britannica, and Smithsonian, there are 118 pyramids on Egyptian soil. They got it wrong, even that. I have been visiting and researching 155 pyramids in Egypt. Not a single one has a mummy. Egyptologists today claim what they've been taught by English and French elites, that this was the first pyramid on Egyptian soil. It is the stepped pyramid in Saqqara. They are assigning it to the 3rd dynastic pharaoh, Djoser. However, no mummy of Djoser, no organic material to tell us the age. However, we do have another name, Imhotep. So now Egyptologists know that he was not a pharaoh. So they are saying, well, he was the most influential and the best known architect in Egypt. Wrong. The 3rd dynasty was 4,600 years back in time. And this pyramid was built tens of thousands of years back. And then Egyptologists are continuing. They are saying the pharaoh between the 3rd and the 4th dynasty, Pharaoh Sneferu, built not 1, but 3 pyramids. This is the famous bent pyramid in Dahshur, inside empty chambers and passageways. They are claiming he was not happy with that, so he built another one, a beautiful red pyramid, also in Dahshur, again empty. And the story goes, he was not happy with the 2nd one, so he built the 3rd one, the stepped pyramid in Meidum. No pharaohs, no tools, no organic material. And then Egyptologists are saying the 4th pharaonic dynasty came, and they built the most magnificent pyramidal structures ever. The Great Pyramid of Egypt, who they assigned to the pharaoh Khufu, or Cheops, 147 meters in height. The 2nd largest, Khephrens or Khafres, probably his brother or his son. And finally, Mykerens or Mycerinos, the 5th largest in Egypt. Probably most of you visited the Great Pyramid of Egypt. You went inside, the passageways are empty, no paintings. You went to the chambers. For some reason, they call them kings and queens, and unfinished, below the ground. No hieroglyphic writings, no symbols, no royal furniture, no mummies, no organic materials, so we can date those structures, no tools, not a single proof who, when, how, and why. The time will show that claims by Egyptologists about the Egyptian pyramids being built by those pharaohs of new era and pyramids being tombs for the pharaohs are actually the biggest hoax in human history. 224 Nubian pyramids in northern Sudan. 43 stepped pyramids from volcanic stone on the island of Sicily. One stepped pyramid in Sardinia. 104 stepped pyramids on Canary Islands, most of them on Tenerife. The Spanish scientific community is saying they are not pyramids, they are not structures, but they are a pile of rocks made by the local farmers. On the other side of Africa, Indian Ocean, the island of Mauritius, when you go through the dense plants of the sugarcane fields, you can see the structures. 7 stepped stone pyramids, 4-sided volcanic stone. I calculated 20,000 tons to build this complex. After my scientific investigation, I sent my report to the government of Mauritius, suggesting that we investigate them together. They answered me, Dr. Osmanagich, that you claim are pyramids are not pyramids. We don't have them. These are actually pile of rocks made by the local farmers hundreds of years back when they were de-rocking the area to plant the sugarcane fields. I had a press conference on the island, presented my evidence, and next day in the largest daily, L'Express, a big article. Smart Bosnian wants to reinvent our history. He claims that we have pyramids, and we know very well that we don't have them. So who to believe? Media, governments, or our own eyes? The Mayan civilization built more than 100,000 pyramids in the countries that we know today under the names of Mexico, Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador, and Belize. My PhD, my doctorate, is about the Mayan pyramids. I realized that more than 97% of those pyramids are still hidden in the jungles, covered by the vegetation. This one has been considered the biggest one in the Mayan city of Tikal. However, the biggest one was discovered in a new city, El Mirador, 3 days walk from Tikal. And here it is, still covered by forest. If uncovered, it should look like this. What do we know about civilization based on less than 3% of their cities, villages, temples, pyramids? Palenque, the most artistic Mayan city. 5 pyramids, when you enter the archaeological park on your right, are uncovered. Especially this one is beautiful right here, Temple of Inscriptions. However, the largest pyramid is to our left, covered by forest. And the Mexican government does not have intention to uncover this one. Why? Because they know that not it's the largest, but also the oldest pyramid in Palenque. And it doesn't fit our narrative about us being primitive before, evolution, and today the most technologically advanced, and the most intelligent, and the most beautiful. Officially, they are saying they don't have money. Believe me, Institute for Anthropology from Mexico City has a lot of money, and they make selection what to dig and what not to dig. Tiny Belize, or British Honduras, until a few decades ago, had 1,000 Mayan cities, towns, and villages. Every one of them would have at least several pyramids. El Salvador, 4 Mayan cities are open for public, but most of the pyramids are still covered by soil, grass, and forest. Western Honduras, the Mayan city Copan. This is the largest pyramid that they have over there. South America, more than 300 pyramids in Peru. This one here, Cavachi pyramids, we have over 40 of them. And over 200 of Tucumán pyramids. First sight, you would say just ordinary hills because of the vertical erosion. However, if you remove desert sand, you discover the walls. We can see the adobe bricks, 200 of them. Peruvian government is saying that they are about 1,800 years old. However, look at the erosion. It means that those pyramids have been exposed to the prolonged storms and rain. And for the last 8,000 years, the climate here has been the same. Dry, sunny, no rain. So when the pyramids were built, officially Peruvian history, 3,000 years. The pyramids change everything. This is the largest pyramid in Peru. It's called Huaca del Sol, the Pyramid of the Sun, near the town of Trujillo. The base of the pyramid equals 5 football terrains, 5 football courts, and this is just 1/3 of the original size. The pyramids in Bolivia, Acapena Pyramid Complex. Today, not much left. We can see the blocks laying around. However, these blocks are granite blocks. They are one of the most hardest materials in the nature. In order to shape granite, you need very advanced tools. Today, we use diamond tools. Until a couple of thousand years back, the only tools in this area of the world were copper tools. Copper is inferior material. You cannot have inferior tools that are rather soft, shaped, superior materials. On Mohs scale, granite is 6.5, copper nearly 3. 3 is nothing. A lot of questions. The most northern place in Mexico with the pyramids is Tula. 3 pyramids have been reconstructed. Interesting thing, on the top of one of them, we can see those 8 stone columns. Toltecs call them Atlanteans, and they claim that they came from the east, from the Red Land. Well, to the east from Mexico is the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, where until 12,000 years back, we had a huge island or small continent, according to some mysterious land of Atlantis. And a red land, red soil, is volcanic soil. And indeed, this land in the middle of Atlantic was volcanic soil. The pyramid of Kukulkan in Chichen Itza, 9-tier pyramid. We have stairways, 91 stairs on each of the 4 sides. 91 times 4, 364, plus the platform on the top, 365, the number of days in our calendar. A lot of astronomical knowledge has been incorporated here. As you probably know, the spring equinox and fall equinox, the sun made this beautiful light effect of the Quetzal coming down to the stairways. Very similar pyramid. This time it is 7-tier pyramid. It's in the northern Cambodia. It's called Koh-Ker pyramid. Now let's analyze this pyramid a little bit. We have regular geometry, meaning square base, triangular faces, 4 sides, perfect side orientation to the east, west, north, and south. Energetically potent construction material. They use sandstone, quartz crystal, and volcanic stone. So, below the pyramid, a chamber, nothing in there, because the function was different, not to hide something, the resonance chamber. On sides, they built artificial lakes. They were connected by the canal. Water moves, it releases the negative ions. So now we can see that pyramids have certain elements that are common around the world. The Chinese pyramids. In 1967, the Chinese archaeologist had a lecture in Japan where he announced that almost 250 pyramids were discovered in the central province of Shanxi. There was another guy, a British guy, who said the other day on Joe Rogan's show, there are thousands of pyramids in China. No, a little bit less than 250. 20 of them are real large, and they are the oldest. They are 12,500 years old. Talking to the Chinese archaeologist, I was informed that the largest pyramids had granite and sandstone blocks as the construction material. And the smaller ones were built in the period from 2,300 years until 1,000 before present. And they were built from the mud bricks. Mud brick is a common construction material even today. Mud bricks, inferior. So the oldest pyramids are the biggest, superior material. Those that they came later, 10,000 years later, are inferior. How about the evolution? The Chinese archaeologists told me that they do not have permission to do digging on the biggest pyramids. On the smaller one, yes. And they have already proven that Chinese generals and princesses were buried there with a lot of archaeological materials. But the biggest one, they cannot touch, they said, for at least 1 generation. And that would be 30 years. This is the look of the most beautiful pyramid in Mexico, the Pyramid of the Sun, in the city of Teotihuacan. Teotihuacan. In the Nahuatl language, it means the place where the people became gods. Completely covered by forests, 165 years ago. It took 4 long archaeological campaigns for the archaeologists from Mexico and the US to completely uncover it. And this is how it looks like today. one of the most beautiful examples of the pyramid architecture. When you look at the top from the base, it seems that builders wanted to reach the sky. And indeed, the height is 74 meters. Interestingly enough, it's exactly 2 times less than the Great Pyramid of Egypt, which is 147 meters. The length at the sides of the Egyptian pyramids, the Great Pyramid of Egypt, 231 meters. 2 lengths, 462. Divided by height, 147, the result is 3.14. The number pi. In the case of the Mexican pyramid, the length at the base, 231 meters. And square root of number pi is incorporated here. There are 3 big pyramids at the Giza Plateau: Khufu, Khafre, Mykerinos. There are 3 big pyramids here in Mexico: Sun, Moon, Quetzalcoatl. And their layout is exactly the same. They are telling us there was no communication between the continents thousands of years back. And here we can see the signature of the same architect. Almost everything they tell us about the ancient history is wrong. The pyramids on the US soil, they don't teach us about them in schools, but there are remnants of 120 pyramids in Cahokia National Park, in southwestern corner of the state of Illinois. All covered by soil. This is the largest one. This is the aerial view. It's 4-sided pyramid. Step pyramid. Its surface is 12% larger than the Great Pyramid of Egypt. I spoke to the archaeologist at the site. I asked him if they did any digging, if they found chambers, passageways, underground waters. He told me no. We are not doing any digging. I said, why? He said 2 reasons. First one, it's very hard to obtain the permission, and the second one, archaeology is very expensive. I told him, listen, you have the government land here. This is the national park. You have the government museum at the site. You are the government employee. It should be the easiest thing to get permission. And secondly, it's expensive. Well, the US is the only world superpower, or at least it was at the time when I spoke to him 15 years ago. I said, we in Bosnia have the most active archaeological site in the world, and we are the poorest country in Europe. The problem is who? Not white Europeans, not American Indians. They never built permanent structures. Somebody before them. In every case of the pyramids, the history had to be changed. 3 pyramids in Italy, called Montevecchia pyramids, covered by soil, stepped in design, and interestingly enough, their layout matched the layout of the Mexican pyramid, or Giza pyramid, or, according to Robert Boal, who was in 1990s, who was later joined by Graham Hancock, they matched 3 stars of the Orion belt. To be more precise, the 3rd star is always a little bit off the top of the 3rd pyramid. I think Andrew Collins had it right when he said that 3 stars in Cygnus star constellation are much better fit. Gunung Padang, Western Java, Gunung Padang, Hill of Light. Our friend Dr. Danny Hillman discovered the pyramid in the jungle It is four-sided. The sides completely match the cardinal points. Originally, it probably looked like this. He discovered the pyramids about 6 months after I did discover the Bosnian pyramids. He did some research the first year. He did some core drilling, discovered a chamber within the pyramid, did the radiocarbon dating, and he got the date of 28,500 years. When I heard that, I was the happiest man in the world. And later on, you will hear why. But that was bad news for the cultural establishment in Indonesia. Archaeologists, historians, they were all against him, and very soon they stopped the research, and even today, 17 years later, he never continued. Today, only 3 pyramids survived in South Korea because of the urbanization. And even Australia, near the town of Gympie, had a pyramid. Actually, it was a shaped hill on all 4 sides with triangular faces and a good orientation towards the cardinal points. On top, megaliths, on 4 sides, 4 megaliths. When I was there, before Corona, I've heard that the Australian government wants to build a highway and destroy the pyramid. So we tried everything to stop that. Unfortunately, the pyramid was destroyed last year. Pyramids in Israel. I used to take groups to Israel. This was one of my favorite places. Who would expect pyramids in Israel, halfway from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem? The place is called the Midrash ruins, and they even have the sign, the pyramid. It used to be 7-tier pyramid. I calculated 2,000 tons of those stone blocks. Perfect orientation to the cardinal points, and they have underground tunnel. Now, according to the preliminary research, Israeli archaeologists, who are among the best archaeologists in the world, they are saying at least 5,000 years. I knew that even, that it was between 5,000 and 8,000 based on the fact that that was the last time period, last window for the megalithic civilizations on this planet. The problem is Israelis are saying this is our heritage, our Jewish heritage. Well, Jews never built pyramids. Besides, they haven't been there for 5,000 years. But after this short introduction, it's rather obvious that we need to establish new science, the pyramid science. We need to establish scientific criteria, what we're going to call a pyramid. The first criteria should be geometry, and it is rather logical. As we can see, majority of the pyramids around the planet are 4-sided pyramid. The reason for that? On our planet, this is the most powerful geometrical shape to amplify the energy. You will hear this from nobody, from mainstream or independent scientists, because they don't know. On our planet, 4-sided pyramid. This is the view of the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun. Until 2005, everybody saw that as the natural hill, because it was covered by the forest, which was planted there back in 1960s and 1970s. The same scenario like in China. Chinese started planting the trees on their pyramids in 1967 because they wanted to hide the pyramids from the outside world. Why? Because they changed the Chinese history. We need to go back for 10,000 more years. In the case of Bosnia, they didn't know that it was a pyramid, but when they see place without the forest, they go ahead and they plant the trees. That's why we have those trees. Of course, we have bushes, we have soil, which is normal. Egypt is to the south. It's a desert, sunny, no rain, no greenery. Peru, the same scenario. However, China, Bosnia, Mexico, Guatemala, a lot of rain, wind. They bring the seeds, they bring the dust, they bring the soil, rain, and of course you have vegetation. When I first came to this little town of Visoko, half an hour drive from the capital city of Sarajevo, I came to visit the local museum. But what really caught my attention was its shape. One side, 2, 3, 4. 4 sides. One triangular face, 2, 3, 4. 4 corners. From here we can see 3 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4. The same slope from bottom to the top. Mother Nature does not make hills with 4 sides, 4 triangular faces, 4 corners. And at that time, I took compass, and compass showed me that this side is perfectly oriented to the north, the one in the back south, east, and west. The moment I saw it, I knew it was an artificial structure, which has been covered by greenery after thousands of years. We started doing some preliminary research back in 2005. By October of 2005, I wrote the book and I announced the news that the first European pyramids have been discovered in the heart of Bosnia. They invited me to BBC, and I told my story, they finished with me, and then they brought a professor from Oxford saying that it's all nonsense, no pyramids in Bosnia. Interestingly enough, BBC has been a media that every few years come back, revisit the Bosnian pyramid story, always saying all natural, geological. Huge stone spheres in Bosnia, geological, interestingly enough. Of course, they are joined by National Geographic, Time magazine, and the others. The second element for the pyramids is the artificial construction material. Now, can you hear me in the back? I don't need to repeat from the beginning, no. So the second one is the construction material. Now, this is an interesting place. This is the corner, the place where 2 sides meet. You see 1 meter of soil, and you got the corner. Everywhere we dig, we are finding the construction material, we are finding the blocks, just 1 meter, 3.5 feet below the soft soil, extremely hard construction material. This is our archaeological trench number 4C. 1 meter of soil, you see, and a rectangular block. Who would expect to find the rectangular block 1 meter below the soil? Stratigraphy in Bosnia, you have soil, dark, light. You have clay, dark, light, gray. Sandstone, clay, sandstone, clay. You don't have this. This block is 4.5 meters long, 1.5 wide, 45 centimeters. It has 8 tons. Flat top, break at 90 degrees. Flat side, break at 90 degrees. 6 flat sides, 6 breaks at 90 degrees. Obviously, somebody made it, not Mother Nature. Next to it is the other one, and the other one. And not only that, below there is a second row of blocks, and then the third row of blocks, and then the fourth row of blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is a structure. Mother Nature does not construct, but intelligent hands. We took samples from these blocks, we've analyzed them at 7 institutes for materials, Politecnico di Torino in Turin, Italy, Geopolymer Institute in France, institutes in Czech Republic, Slovakia, and Bosnia. They all told us that it was an artificially made concrete. When you have concrete, you can determine the quality of concrete based on 2 elements. The first one is hardness. The harder the concrete, more durable, better quality. The second one is the water absorption. Less water absorption, longevity is long. So, when it comes to hardness, our today's concretes are on the scale from 10 megapascals to 60 megapascals. 60 made in US, made in Germany, the best quality. This concrete here, after we've analyzed 50 samples, they are in the range from 73 to 155 megapascals. We cannot, using our technology, make such a good quality concrete like the ancient builders. The second element of quality is the water absorption. If water can get inside the concrete during the winter time, it freezes, and the ice has a tendency to expand, and the concrete breaks. So we try to keep absorption very low. Our norms up to 3%. This one here, just 1%. Superior. The best quality concrete ever. So far we have uncovered thousands of tons of this concrete. And as a binder, unlike us who use cement nowadays, they use this brownish material, melted clay. Millions of tons of clay everywhere. They knew the properties of natural construction materials. So, if we are to change this green color of pyramid as it looks like today with the color of concrete, grayish, brownish, using the same size and the same geometry, this is exactly what we can get as the original look of the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun. From this point up 220 meters, the Great Pyramid of Egypt, 147, the largest on the planet. The next element for the pyramids, orientation of the sides. Traveling the world, I've been measuring the orientation. Chinese pyramids, all of them, but literally all of them, old and younger ones, north, north, south, east, west. Indonesia, north. Cambodia, north. Peru, north. Cahokia pyramids, north. Egypt, north. So far we thought that the best orientation was the Great Pyramid of Egypt. The error from the perfect cosmic north is 0 degrees and 3 minutes. 3 minutes is just a fraction of 1 degree. It's nothing, especially when you have into consideration that the side is 231 meters, and they are not a couple of degrees off, just 3 minutes. Khafre, 0 degrees, 3 minutes. Mykarinos, 0 degrees, 18 minutes. Bent Pyramid, 0 degrees, 12 minutes. Red Pyramid, 0 degrees, 5 minutes. Amazing and genius. The Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun, 0 degrees, 0 minutes, and 12 seconds. According to the measurements of the Bosnian State Institute for Geodesy after they applied scientific instruments and after connected to the satellite. If we believe that satellites exist and that our planet is not flat. The most precise on the planet. Imagine 660 meters and the error is 0,012. The next element, inner passageways and chambers. It seems that according to the scanning that we have done on the Sun Pyramid, this is north, this is east, that there are a network of tunnels within the pyramid. And the depth of the tunnels are shown here. For example, white, 10 meters deep, blue, here's blue, 40 meters deep, brown, Here is brown, 70 meters deep. So the tunnels basically run like a spiral, going towards the top of the pyramid. We've done geothermal scanning of the area using the satellite. So we scanned the area during the daytime and during the nighttime. We wanted to check the heat loss. If it is a natural hill, it's very compacted. So the heat loss is actually very slow. It takes time, till it gets warm. It takes time till it loses the temperature. But if it is an artificial structure, due to existence of the passageways and chambers, the heat loss is much quicker. And exactly the pyramids of the sun and the moon and the dragon and the love pyramid and the temple of Mother Earth, they are losing the heat the quickest. The next element for the pyramids, underground tunnels. Many people don't know that there are 4 levels of underground tunnels under the Giza Plateau, and they are not open for the public. The reason why, those tunnels are part of the pyramid complexes, and they are for sure older than 12,000 years. How do we know that? Because at that time, 12,000 years back, after the big flood, the Mediterranean Sea flooded the continents. The Giza is 180 kilometers from Alexandria and from the Mediterranean Sea. And we could see a lot of seashells and a lot of salt in those tunnels. So people will connect it. Hey, it was here more than 12,000 years back. As a matter of fact, when El Mamnoon, 1,200 years ago, he was from the Ottoman Empire, when he broke to the Great Pyramid of Egypt, at the lower levels he discovered sea salt and the seashells, meaning the pyramids were there already 12,000 years back. So the stories about 4,500, the pharaohs, our greatest ancestors, glorious Egyptian forget all of that. They were not builders of those magnificent pyramids. Under the Mayan pyramids, more and more tunnels have been discovered. Under all Chinese pyramids, there are the tunnels. In my first book about the discovery, back in 2005, I wrote, we were going to discover underground tunnels. Today, 18 years later, we can say that we've discovered 6 entrances to those prehistorical underground tunnels. And our network is, of course, the most extensive in the world. This is the complex of the small countries. Everything is the biggest, the oldest, the most beautiful. The next element, the water. Pyramids were always built next to the major rivers. Egypt, River Nile. The same scenario, China, Peru, Mexico. In our case, we have 2 major rivers. One is the river Fonica, another one, River Bosna. River Bosna is the largest Bosnian river. Here's the Sun Pyramid. And a lot of underground water flows. Very important. The next element, sacred geometry. When we connect the tops of the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun with the top of the Bosnian Pyramid of the Moon, 2,180 meters. From the Moon to the Dragon Pyramid, 2,180. From Dragon back to the Sun, 2,180. Inner angles, 60 degrees. Perfect equilateral triangle. You can connect 3 dots in the space in unlimited ways, but only one gives you equilateral triangle. And that's the reason why this geometrical shape is element of the sacred geometry. With the green, we have Sun, Moon, Dragon. Here is the top of the Pyramid of Love. Temple of Mother Earth, entrance to the tunnels and River Fonica, another equilateral triangle, a triangle within a triangle, sacred geometry. Sacred geometry, movement of the energy. That's the secret of the sacred geometry. Not just the shapes, number pi, number phi, movement of the energy. The top of the Temple of Mother Earth, top of the Love Pyramid, top of the Sun Pyramid, unnamed structure, entrance to the Rame tunnels, perfectly laser straight line. The ancients always took care about the layout of those structures. Top of the Moon Pyramid, top of the Temple of Mother Earth, top of the Dragon Pyramid, perfectly straight line. Here it is, Dragon, Earth, Moon. From Dragon, when we draw the line, to north, perfect north, we are coming to the place where two rivers meet, River Bosna and River Fonica, the mouth of River Bosna. Now, when we check this River Fonica originally probably was flowing this way. Instead, somebody changed the direction for more than 120 degrees, getting this river inside the Bosnian Valley of the Pyramids. And even here, it had tendency to go to the right. Instead, this place is artificially made, the place where those two rivers meet. Why is that important? This point is very important. When we take this point, we can start the golden section spiral. And here it is. On the line, we have the top of the Sun Pyramid, top of the Rane tunnels, and top of another artificial structure, conical in shape. In archaeology, they are called tumulus. The biggest one in the world, Silbury Hill, tumulus. And that's not all. The Pyramid of the Sun is right here, Pyramid of Love here, and what we have here, we have another spiral, golden section spiral. Two golden section spiral. And that's not all. Here's the Pyramid of the Sun. As we can see, we also have seed of life, sacred geometry. The next element for the pyramids, astronomical features. And we can find them everywhere, China, Mexico, Peru, Egypt. When you're on the top of the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun, during the most important dates, equinox, solstice, and so on, let's see what's happening. Here's the top of the Sun Pyramid. Here's the western slope of the Moon Pyramid. And this is the shadow of the Sun Pyramid. Just before the sunset, on the most important date during the year, which would be summer solstice day, June 21st. Daylight, the longest, 2/3 of the day, night, 1/3. We can see that this shadow formed another pyramid, the same height like the Moon Pyramid, and the shadow touches the foundation on the Moon Pyramid, so we know exactly its height, 190 meters. The Great Pyramid of Egypt is still 147, two largest in Bosnia. And this is south, so the shadow coming from south, meaning it announces the summer is coming, hot days. A month and a half later, in the middle of summer, we still follow the shadow of the Sun Pyramid, western slope of the Moon, afternoon, sunset, the shadow completely covers the Moon Pyramid and top of the shadow touches the top of the Moon Pyramid. In a symbolical way, the rule of the day and the sun is over and the rule of the night and the moon starts. Genius. And that's not all. Fall equinox. Here's the moon pyramid. Afternoon, afternoon, sunset. This is the shadow of the love pyramid. So we have another player. And the shadow of the sun pyramid. You see how the shadow of the sun is coming from the other side. This is the northern side. North, why? Because it announces that the fall and the cold winter is coming. And the shadow of the love pyramid completely covers the moon pyramid just before the sunset. If only this, that would be enough for the common sense person to say, yes, somebody was playing with those hills or structures, like with the Lego. The next element. The pyramids were always located above energy-potent places. The sun pyramid, a huge iron plate. Iron generates electromagnetic field. The pyramid pulls this electromagnetism up, going through the pyramid, and it amplifies the electromagnetic field. How do we know that? Because we have measured it at the base and at the top. At the top, the signal was 50 times stronger. Back in 2007, we repeated this experiment with the Egyptian pyramids, to be more precise, with the red pyramid. We had to pay, of course, armies around the pyramid. Nobody was there that day. And we could measure at the base, and we climbed the top. So the pyramids, they amplify the energy. The next element, volcanic lines. Nobody has ever considered this element to be a pyramid criteria. Well, we have analyzed 75 sites, megalithic and pyramid sites, on all 6 continents. And we have concluded that all of them are located above intersections of great number of the volcanic lines. What are the volcanic lines? 10 minutes. When you connect 2 volcanoes, you get volcanic line. When you have pyramid at the end of the volcanic line, it means that the pyramid is laying on volcanic line. Well, guess what? Let's say Cholula, the largest pyramid in Mexico, is sitting on intersection of 18 volcanic lines. Why is that important? Volcano, lava, iron, minerals, crystals, energy. It has always been about the energy, how to amplify beneficial energies. Machu Picchu, 16 volcanic lines. Bosnian pyramids, 26 volcanic lines, and 15 of them has 3, 4, 5, or more volcanoes on the same line. The next element, ley lines. Croatia, Serbia, Montenegro, Bosnia. Red lines, ley lines. They run north-south, east-west, and diagonal. And most of them are intersecting right here. Right here. This is the capital city of Sarajevo. It's not there. It's here, the town of Visoko, the pyramid town. The next element has something to do with the energy again. Our late friend, Dr. Harry Oldfield, invented a special camera called PIP camera that can film invisible bioenergy fields. This is a natural pointy hill in Bosnia, and those fields are all horizontal. You can see that, green and pink and blue and green and red. This is the town in Serbia. You can see the houses, green, red, green, blue, all horizontal. Somebody mentioned today Sedona, my favorite place in US. This is famous red rock. They call it bell rock. You see those lines? Brown, green, blue, green, all horizontal. And that's a natural ambient. This is southern Egypt. When I take my groups to Egypt, we usually go to Abu Simbel. You see the road, and you can see the horizontal lines. And this is southern Germany, Pyramidal Hill. It's not an artificial structure, horizontal lines. And this is the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun, and vertical lines. We have everything upside down in Bosnia. We cannot even have horizontal lines like all other normal people and countries. What's happening here? A lot of red color, red energy is getting accumulated inside the pyramid, going through the top of the pyramid, hitting those horizontal lines, and they become vertical fields. Meaning the pyramid is still energetically active. 2007, when Dr. Harry Oldfield was alive, he even filmed it himself, vertical lines. Panoramic photos, 2015, 2016, the town of Visoko, the hotel, horizontal, you come to the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun, Pyramid of Love, vertical, because you are coming to the energy amplifiers. Then I purchased the equipment, new version. This is the second largest pyramid in Egypt, Khafre or Kefrens. Look what's happening, coming as a horizontal, and here ended up as the vertical. So this pyramid is also energetically active. Archaeologists, mainstream scientists, independent researchers, they have no clue about this. So you are getting premium information tonight. So we need to come up with a new definition of pyramids. Let's forget the bedtime stories about pyramids as tombs for the pharaohs. Pyramids were simply energy amplifiers or energy machines. Hopefully 20 or 50 years from now, this is what they're going to be teaching our kids in the schools. If there are still schools and if there are still kids. What is the purpose of pyramids? Archaeologists, geologists, historians, they cannot help us. We need real scientists, people with the scientific instruments, physicists, electrical engineers, sound engineers, telecommunication engineers, medical doctors. Team from Croatia came with their instruments, Gauss meter, oscilloscope, spectrometer, and they concluded on the top of the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun, there was an energy beam, 28 kilohertz frequency, 4.5 meter diameter. Team from Serbia, led by engineer Marjanovic, they came with their own equipment and they confirmed the same frequency, 28 kilohertz frequency. They brought their own scientific instruments. Team from Finland, Heikki Savolainen, sound engineers. Italy, Professor De Bertolis. They all came at different times with their own equipment, and if they all get the same results, in science it is called an independent scientific verification of the phenomenon. Which phenomenon? This one right here. Energy beam going through the top of the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun, 28 kilohertz, electrical in nature, starts with the 4.5 meter, expands to 20, 4.5, 20, 4.5, 20. Mother Nature does not make hills with 4 sides, triangular faces, perfect orientation, passageways, underground chambers, tunnels, and energy beam like this one. We have measured nearby hills, nothing. And then we measured this energy beam during very interesting cosmic phenomenon, the moon eclipse. At that time, in July of 2018, 5 cosmic bodies were the same line. Sun, Venus, Earth, Moon, and Mars. And we measured the strength of the signal during the daytime, before the eclipse, and during the night times, from 9:15 to 10:30. What happened? The signal during the eclipse was 2 times stronger. You see the effects on the energy of our planet from the other cosmical bodies. And then we measure the strength of the signal at the ground, on the top, 3 meters higher, and another 3 meters higher. Every time we lift this antenna, the signal was getting stronger and stronger and stronger. Not logical. If the source of the energy is inside the pyramid, the signal should be getting weaker as it moves away from the pyramid. But since everything is upside down in Bosnia, our energy beam is getting stronger. In science, this phenomenon is called scalar waves. 125 years ago, the brilliant mind of Nikola Tesla was investigating this phenomenon, and he concluded that scalar waves move quicker than the speed of light. And that was confirmed in the last 50 years by Russian physicists. Quicker than the speed of light, well, it makes them ideal media to transport the energy, to transport the information. After his lab was burned down in Colorado Springs, he built the famous Fordham Cliff Tower in the state of New York. He did a few experiments, and he was writing in his diary, I found a way to move unlimited quantities of energy, thousands of horsepowers, between two planets, regardless of their distance. He found a way to move remotely, wirelessly, huge quantities of energy for free. 130 years later, look what we still have. Transformers, cables, a lot of money. He had a noble goal, to get to unlimited, clean, and free energy. His mecenas, like J.P. Morgan, he told him so many times, if the energy is for free, how I'm going to make money? So instead, he was buying his patents. Tesla produced 320 patents, put them in a drawer, and they were developing very expensive sources of energy. Energy that is not clean, coal, oil, gas, nuclear, which is not unlimited and which is very expensive. And that's why we have today 3,000 super billionaires and more than 90% of ordinary, normal people who struggle from first to first. It's not only Bosnian pyramid energetically active, Kukulkan pyramid in Mexico, the pyramid of the moon in Mexico. In conclusion, the first potential purpose of the pyramid energy is the communication on very long distances. Do I have a few more minutes or I finish here?
I think finish. Very short break, folks.
Okay, I'll give you a teaser. It will be just 2 or 3 minutes. This was science, as you can see. Science, you can check. It's measurable. What does Wikipedia say about the Bosnian pyramids? Bosnian pyramids are pseudo-archaeological claim, not even a project. Promoted by gentlemen right here, geologists, archaeologists, other scientists concluded that these were the natural hills. Okay, let's hear those experts. Let's start with the most influential, Dr. Zahi Havas. Never been to Bosnia. It's impossible that human beings move 40 tons, because the biggest blocks that we have on the Sun Pyramid so far, 40 tons. Well, guess what? The largest block in the Khafre Pyramid, 220 tons. Obelisk in Luxor, 375. Unfinished obelisk in Aswan, 1,450 tons. So those Egyptians could move 1,000 tons, and Bosnians could not move 40 tons. I'll tell you a secret. Tell a Bosnian to move a huge block, but don't tell him the weight, and he will do it. Director of the Council for British Archaeology, Dr. Mike Hayward, Professor Hermann Parzigan of Germany, never been to Bosnia. This pyramid scheme is a cruel hoax on unsuspecting public. Poor public, not expecting from me, tell them, hey, we have the biggest pyramids in Bosnia. Alternative, Robert Schock, no pyramids in Visoko. He started the project because of his future engagement in politics. The year is 2006, 17 years ago. And guess what? Look how I'm dressed. I'm still not in politics. US ambassador asked me once in 2006, he said, Dr. Osmanagich, according to our sources, you are the most popular man in Bosnia. And by the way, I was 2 times Man of the Year in Bosnia. He said, you are the most popular. Are you going for the election? I said, what election? He said, well, in September there are elections. I said, no. I did not come back from Houston, Texas. I used to live in Houston. To Bosnia to run in politics. There are different ways helping your country. And my way is to investigate and promote cultural heritage. Andrew Collins, never been in Bosnia. I'm extremely skeptical. David Hatcher, not convinced. The most intelligent among them, Graham Hancock, I do not find the site to be good evidence for a lost civilization. And maybe he's right. This is not lost civilization no more. We discovered it. This one is the best. Dr. Brian Stewart, University of Michigan, never been to Bosnia. There were very worrying reports that he and his team have essentially sculpted the sides of these natural hills, sculpted the biggest pyramids on the planet into something they think, they don't even know, they think resembles pyramids. Well, let me finish on a positive note. Egyptologist, triple PhD, Dr. Nabil Svelim, 3 times in Bosnia, writing scientific reports. The Great Pyramid of Egypt is the most magnificent in the world, but the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun is the biggest in the world because it fulfills the criteria for the pyramids. Russian geophysicist, Professor Havroshkin, after measurements, Bosnian pyramids match Egyptian in shape, form, and seismic values. Paul Van Ward, US, Bosnian pyramids, one of the most interesting discoveries in archaeology. Professor Zubrov, archaeologist from the Buffalo State University, New York, you need to find out who built the Bosnian pyramids, when they were built. Unfortunately late, Dr. Paula Violette from 6 months back. Bosnia, 4 times in Bosnia. Bosnian pyramids are the biggest discovery in archaeology. And finally, brilliant professor from University of St. Petersburg, Konstantin Korotkov, the Bosnian pyramid discovery equals the discovery of the Mayan pyramids. He goes almost every year, he does the measurements, he did the measurements of Egyptian, Mexican, Bosnian. He said Bosnians have the strongest energy. Thank you and see you in 10 minutes.
Thank you very much.